video lesson of section 4.2 Pulaski Technical College Trigonometry class where John Allison is the instructor. This lesson is going to be over the law of cosines. If you recall, before spring break we did a lesson on the law of sines. The law of sines said that for a triangle ABC, where vertices and opposite sides are labeled with corresponding capital and small letters, the law of sines says that the sine of angle A over side A is equal to the sine of angle B over side B, which is equal to the sine of angle C over side C. We could use this law to solve triangles in given situations when we were given two angles and a side, or given two angles and two sides. Today we're going to learn the law of cosines, which we can use to solve triangles when we're given two sides and the included angle. That means the angle in between those sides, or when we're given three sides of a triangle. The law of cosines, there are three versions of it. One says side A squared equals side B squared plus side C squared minus 2 side B times sine C times cosine of angle A. Second version says B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC times cosine B. And the third version says C squared is equal to side A squared plus side B squared minus 2AB times cosine of angle C. Notice in each of these cases the side squared on the side of the equation by itself corresponds to the angle inside the cosine. Let's use this to solve a triangle. Say we're given a triangle. We're given two sides and an included angle. When we solve a triangle, recall that means we find the measurements for any missing sides or angles. So here, if we label this triangle A, B, C, then the side opposite angle A is little a, side opposite angle C is little c, and the side opposite angle B is little b. So we need to find angle C, angle A, and side B. If we're going to find side B, we will use the second version of the law of cosines that says B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2 times A times C times cosine angle B. Make sure we're using degrees, so you make sure your calculator is set on degrees. Then we're going to type in all of this just exactly like it is. So do 9 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 9 times 7 times cosine 75. And I get b squared is equal to 97.3888. To solve for b, take the square root of both sides to get b equals 9.869. So b is 9.869 units. Now I choose one of the angles I want to solve for. I need to know angle A, I need to know angle C. Let's find angle A first. Since this is the version of the law of cosines that has angle A in it, we'll use that. And we'll plug in all of the known variables. We have A is 9. B now we know is 9.869. C is 7. Again, we plug in B and C. Now, here we have to be careful. We have to isolate the cosine A. The easiest way to do this is to simplify. Let's combine these two by typing in your calculator 9.869 squared plus 7 squared. That part becomes 146.397. Now we'll type in this part. We'll do negative 2 times 9.869 times 7 to get negative 138.166. That's still being multiplied times cosine A. And of course 9 squared is just 81. The important part here is we cannot subtract these two numbers because they're not like terms, because the 138.166 is tied to the cosine A with multiplication. Therefore, to solve this equation for cosine A, to isolate cosine A, we first have to subtract 146.397 from both sides. So I get 81 minus 146.397. That gives me negative 65.397. That leaves me, these two cancel out on the right side, leaves me with negative 138.166 cosine A. So now I'm trying to isolate cosine A. I divide both sides by negative 138.166. These cancel. This leaves me cosine A on the right side, and on the left side, negative 65.397 divided by negative 138.166 gives me 0.4733. Now I take the cosine inverse of both sides of this equation. Recall the cosine and the cosine inverse cancel each other out. So that leaves me with A equals cosine inverse, do second cosine in your calculator, 0.4733. This gives me 61.751. Oops, 61.751. That's angle A. Go back to our triangle. Now we have two angles inside the triangle. Recall that to find angle C, all we have to do is 180 minus angle A minus angle B. 180 minus 61.751 minus 75 gives me angle C is 43.249, and we have solved our triangle. We found all the missing sides and angles. We can also use the law of cosines to solve a triangle when we're given three sides. Let's say we're given that sides of a triangle are side A is 7, side B is 12, and side C is 9. If we draw this triangle, recall that the angles have to be labeled opposite their corresponding sides. Now we need to choose one of the angles to solve. Let's just choose A since it comes first in alphabetical order. We have to use the version of the law of cosines that has angle A. If we're solving for angle A, we have to use the version that has angle A. And that is A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine angle A. Now we plug in all our sides, then we solve for angle A. So we have 7 squared equals 12 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 12 times 9 times cosine angle A. Now, just like before, we're going to isolate cosine of angle A. So the first thing we do is figure out what 12 squared plus 9 squared is. That's 225. Then we find out what negative 2 times 12 times 9 is. That's negative 216. But recall, that's still tied to the cosine A by multiplication. 7 squared, of course, is 49. To isolate the cosine A, we first subtract 225 from both sides, which cancels on the right. Leaves me with 49 minus 225, negative 176, equals negative 216 cosine angle A. Isolating cosine angle A, we divide both sides by negative 216. Leaves us cosine A on the right. On the left, we have negative 176 divided by negative 216, which is 0.8148. Take the cosine inverse of both sides. Cosine and cosine inverse cancel on the right. Leave me with angle A equal to cosine inverse 0.8148. Type that in the calculator, second cosine 0.8148. And we see that angle A is equal to 35.432 degrees. degrees. Now we choose a second. Let's find angle B. We use the law of cosines version that has angle B in it. That's B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine angle B. We plug in the three sides again. This time we get 12 squared equals 7 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times 7 times 9 times cosine angle B. 12 squared is 144. Again, we figure out what 7 squared plus 9 squared is. That's 130. Then what's negative 2 times 7 times 9? That's negative 126. And recall that's still tied together with cosine B by multiplication. So now we subtract 130 from both sides. Get 144 minus 130 is 14. Divide both sides by negative 126. Cancels on the right, leaves me with cosine B. On the left, we get 14 divided by negative 126. That's negative 0.111. Take the cosine inverse of both sides. Cosine inverse cancels the cosine, leaves me with B on the right side. Cosine inverse second cosine negative 0.111 gives me 96.373. That's angle B. Again, once I have two angles inside a triangle, to find a third angle C, all I have to do is 180 minus angle A minus angle B. And angle C is 48.195. And I've solved my triangle. Now let's look at an application problem from your book. On page 309, number 42 says the developer owns a triangular lot at the intersection of two streets. The streets meet at an angle of 72 degrees. The lot has 300 foot of frontage along one street and 416 foot of frontage along the other street. Find the length of the third side of the lot. We can do this by drawing a triangle. Two streets meet at an angle of 72 degrees. It's a triangular lot. One side has 300 foot of frontage. The other side has 416 foot of frontage. We need to find the missing side. Let's label our triangle ABC like we've been doing. That means our missing side would be angle A, or side A. 300 foot side would be side B, and the 416 foot side would be side C. If we need to find side A, we will use the version of the law of cosines that has little a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine angle A. We plug in for BC and angle A to get 300 squared plus 416 squared minus 2 times 300 times 416 times cosine 72. We plug all that in to find what A squared is equal to. 300 squared plus 416 squared minus 2 times 300 times 416 times cosine 72. And we find that A squared is equal to 185,925.3582. To find side A, we take the square root of both sides and see that side A is equal to 431.19 feet. That is the law of cosines.